When you have a history of greatness, the real challenge starts after the finish line.
I can taste triumph with the heart of a lion.
When victory alone isn't enough, you chase something greater, no matter how difficult the path. On the dirt, in the sand, and beyond. The new 2024 Ridgeline Passport and Pilot, part of our most rugged trail sport lineup yet. From Honda.
All right, welcome back, everyone, and welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Martin Folse, and joining us, a very popular man. You see him all over the national news. He has certainly made a great name for himself. U.S. Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana. Senator, good to see you, as always.
Martin, it's great to see you, man. I wish I could be there in person. They're running me ragged here. I'm at home today, but I'm leaving again in the morning.
Let me ask you this, because I was thinking, I said, there's so many things I could talk to the senator about, but maybe we could just have a heart-to-heart, because every night I get home after a news day here, and I turn on national news, and I just get worn out, for lack of a better words, because I'm hearing just things that we didn't have to hear 20 and 25 and 30 years ago. Yeah. And most of it, it's just, I can't take the lying. And I'm not saying both sides are not without issue, but it's just so much lying. How much can the national people take when it comes to bad information?
Well, it's too much. Look, I don't hate anybody, Martin. I know all my colleagues. I get along with all of them. I mean, I'm human. I like some better than others, but I don't hate anybody. I look for grace wherever I can find it. But I try to say exactly what's on my mind. There is way too much hate out there. I don't know what to do about it. Part of it is social media. I mean, I don't know if I can say this on TV, but the problem with social media is it lowers the cost of being an a-hole. People say things on social media that they would never say about you or to you to your face. And it really has become a cesspool of snark. But I don't know what to do about it, except I just try not to hate anybody. But I'm pretty frank and candid about where I stand on particular issues.
You know, let's talk about the border also, because I'll tie this into when I go home and I turn on the TV and I'm watching what's going on between Israel and Hezbollah and Iran and everybody else, Lebanon. And I'm sitting there thinking, we're seeing all this, and I'm watching Israel deal with all that, right surrounded by all of their enemies. And I'm thinking to myself, my God, we're letting people come in across the border, and we're just creating a situation where they may try to kill us from within the United States. Your thoughts on that?
Well, the border's wide open. President Biden and Vice President Harris have allowed about 9 million at least people from all over the world into our country, and we don't have the slightest idea who they are. I mean, when you think about it, that's like adding 4 Nebraskas to America. Mm-hmm. Now, recently the numbers have been down a little bit because I believe President Biden and Vice President Harris made a deal with the Mexican President Lopez Obrador to try to hold the numbers down during the election year so they could say they were doing something. But clearly the Democratic Party, it's their right to believe this, but they believe in open borders. Some, I believe, think that the border ought to be open and anybody ought to be able to come in because they see these folks as potential voters. Other Democrats believe that they just believe in open borders. They think if you vet people at the border, as does every country in the world, it's racist, that you're a racist. I don't think it's racist. I think it's prudent. We need to know who's coming into and out of our country. It's also expensive, man. These I don't know how many tens of billions of dollars of taxpayer money we've had to spend. When folks come here with nothing but the clothes on their back, we've got to house them and feed them. I mean, we're humane people. We're going to take care of them, but it's expensive.
Let me ask you this, and we'll turn toward political and the presidential election as we see more indictments looming on our former president. But do you think we're going to have a debate? Have they reached an agreement, or is it going to keep changing daily?
Yeah, they're going to debate. I predict they'll have certainly one and probably two. It's in the best interest of President Trump to debate. I think it's in the best interest of Ms. Harris, but I'm sure her people don't want her to debate. She's doing her first television interview here in a few days, but she's not going alone. They're sending her vice presidential nominee with her. They don't want to turn her loose by herself, which I think is a huge mistake. American people are entitled to know who's running for president, and also I think insisting that she have somebody there to help her makes her look weak. But that's up to the Harris campaign. Yeah. But it's clear they want to run a campaign based on teleprompters.
Yep. Unbelievable. Let me ask you, as far as Ukraine, Russia, Israel situation, a lot of people, including a lot of people in Louisiana, in your state, are getting nervous just watching all this because it's treacherous ground. It's right on the border of World War III. Your thoughts on that? Well,
if you could see the unclassified and the classified information that I see, Martin, here's what I think you would conclude. President Xi in China, Putin in Russia, and the Ayatollah in Iran are working together. They think they can shove President Biden and Vice President Harris through that wall. They think that those two are weak. Their goal is to have Russia dominate Central and Eastern Europe, have the Ayatollah in Iran dominate the Middle East, have China dominate the Indo-Pacific, South Africa, or Sub-Saharan Africa and South America. And that's not a world that's safe for democracy. I don't want America to be the world's policeman, but I don't want Xi Jinping in China or Putin or the Ayatollah in Iran to be the world's policeman either. And it's been my experience. I don't know why this is. If I make it to heaven, I'm going to ask. But weakness invites the wolves. These are hard men, and they understand one thing, busting them right between the eyes. If you turn the other cheek with these guys, they just stab you in the neck, man. They just understand strength. And every budget that Biden and Harris have submitted to us in Congress cuts defense. I've never seen anything like it.
Anything on your mind that you would like to portray to the people of Louisiana? Could you represent them to maybe make life a little easier? It could be insurance rates. It could be anything you want to talk about. What would it be?
I'm an optimist who worries, but I'm an optimist. I believe that Louisiana's best days and America's best days lie ahead. I think our future can be better than our present or our past. And I think America's institutions will hold. But I'm not going to kid you. There's some Republicans aren't perfect, but the other side's crazy. And common sense is illegal in Washington. And water up there in D.C. is not going to clear up till we get some of the pigs out of the creek. I don't hate anybody, but I'm going to stand up and represent you, and I try to vote how I think you would vote if you have the information that I have. I'm not going to win every fight, but I promise you this, I'll refuse to quit.
Well, Senator Kennedy, we appreciate you joining us, and thank you for your transparency, and thank you for your leadership, and thank you for always joining little old HTV and Houma, Louisiana.
Man, I love it. I love your show. I love you, Martin. I've known you a long time. This is how long, folks, I've known Martin. I knew him when he was poor, and that's been a long, long time ago.
Well, thank you, Senator. Have a great day, and keep up the great work, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, man.
All right, there you have it, Senator John Kennedy, and we'll take a short break. We'll be back with more right here on Bayou Time. Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.